All right. Let's make sure that this looks okay. Let's camera a little bit. All right. Good evening, everybody, or morning or afternoon, wherever you're at. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Welcome back to the channel. This is Soul Commodore, and we're going to be doing some more work on this painting here. We're actually, believe it or not, we're actually pretty close to being done with this, actually. We're getting pretty close to the abstraction phase because there's not too much more that I want to do to the base painting. Other than I'm going to bring it closer to the camera. So we're going to work on that right now. But I hope you all are having a wonderful evening. It's a nice, cozy, toasty evening because again our heater is on, and let's actually pin this in the wall, shall we? This wall does not like pins very much, but that's okay. We will overcome. There we go. Come on. There we go. All right. Kind of smooth that out. Then we'll get this together. And you might have noticed something a little different about the layout. I'm trying something a little new. I've got an actual border on the channel this time. I don't know. I thought it'd be kind of fun to try something new, and putting in a border was kind of speaking to me. So I thought, well, yeah, let's do that. Don't mind me, I'm just rolling up an old painting that we had done on stream. I was taking some pictures of it, so just rolling it back up. There we go. But yeah, we'll roll this up and then we will get to painting. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, we just trying a new layout. See how y'all like it. If you don't like it, then it won't take much to change it all. I'm just going to take that out so that there's not an echo. There we go. All right. So we've got that together. We've got our palette. Which is funny because this painting, by and large, actually not even by and large, this painting has been completely 3 colors: black, white, and red. Well, there's a tiny little bit of blue in here too, but not enough that you can actually like notice it. But yeah, let's get the colors that we need on this canvas here. Or on this palette, I should say. But yeah, once again, I know I'd said it already, but I do hope that you all are having a wonderful evening. It was kind of a chilly day here today, so. Go a little bit of red, and I had a surprisingly busy day at work, which, you know, when you're starting a new job, a lot of it is just, you know, training and modules and, you know, learning, all that kind of stuff. You don't actually get to do a whole lot, but today was nice. I actually got to do some things, which was awesome. Don't mind me, I'm just making sure that something's, that everything's okay here. on my end. And it seems to be. There we go. All right. Cool. So, the first thing we're going to do, very first thing we're going to do, is I'm going to repaint this area just down here in this floor, because I did try to put a figure in there, but I didn't quite like the way it turned out. So we're going to try that again. So, let me grab my brush. And we're going to paint over that, let it dry a little bit, and then we're going to try painting that figure again. And hopefully, this time, it'll work out a little better. That's the hope. So I'm just drying off my brush. But yeah, let me know what you think about the border. Because like I said, I enjoy it, but if people aren't digging it, it can always go. I'm not married to it or anything, so. Let me see if I zoom in here. What it is it's very dark in here, so it's hard to see that. But that's okay. We're going to lighten it up a bit while we put in this new floor with the highlights in it. Like I said, we are going to have to let this dry. But that's okay. Hope y'all are getting ready for the holidays, if you're not ready already. I know I've got one more gift to get. Well, two actually, but the one I'm not counting because that one's more of a bonus. If I can get it, then I will. But if not, it's not a huge deal. Okay. So unfortunately, just by the nature of this this area and what I want to do in it, we are going to have to let that dry. But that's okay. It shouldn't, honestly, it shouldn't take too long to dry. If we're being honest. Shouldn't take too long at all. Because this is acrylic, and it's not particularly thick layers of acrylic either. Like I said, I don't tend to work in very thick layers. So we're going to let that dry completely. See, it's already starting to get tacky, which is a good sign. And we're just going to throw some paint up here too. just to add to the richness and the darkness and the depth. Here we go. The nice thing about having the camera zoomed in here like this is you all don't get to see all the goofy faces that I make when I paint. You know how when, like, if you're working on something, you stick out your tongue or, you know, stuff like that when you're really concentrating. It's like that. Now, the unfortunate thing is with the light setup that I have, this is one of those paintings that's going to look much better once I take a picture of it. Unless I can... Bear with me, I'm going to see if I can move a light. So you might hear some noises, you might hear some crashes, you know. Don't worry about that, it's just me moving some stuff around. So, bear with me. Because I want to see if I can reposition this other light source that I have. You can see it go out real quick. Alright, come on. There we go. Yeah, I just want to see if moving this light will help things. Because if it will, that would be pretty amazing. Oh, you know what? That's a little better. Now, what if I throw this up here? You know what, I think that's pretty good, actually, where it's at. So we'll try that out, see how that works out for us. There are a lot of physical maladies that people can obtain that really aren't all that great when it's all said and done. But one that is, I think, pretty underrated in terms of its awfulness, not in the grand scheme of things, but just in the moment, is a canker sore. I've got a canker sore, but hey, Jake from the Woods, what's happening? Welcome on in. Thank you for joining us. How's your evening going? You had a very fun stream today, I must say. Just gonna move your move that text box a little so that your name is completely in the... Yeah.
Basically, like some of them run on batteries, right?
Yeah, not a problem. It was fun. It was fun. And there, now your entire name is in the window. But yeah, we got a fancy new border here that we're trying out, just to see how it looks. And I'm also playing around with this light to see where I can put it, where it'll you know, make things look good, because we're working on a very dark painting, and we might actually be able to get this thing done today. Oh, that's way too much glare. Way too much glare. So we'll tamp that down. We'll just keep it there for now. Because we're going to be painting something very dark in here. I know, darker than that wall. Yes, as a matter of fact. Does anybody else hate it when shirts do this? Like when you're wearing a zipper or like a hoodie or something? Ugh. Anyway. I mean, better a shirt than when like your pants do that, like where the zipper is. Anyway, we're going to be painting a dark figure in here, and I want to make sure that people can actually see it. So I'm just kind of playing with where I can put this light, where it will come through okay. Which I figure we might as well do now because we're waiting for the paint to dry. So, you know what, I think I liked it better. Unless I do it here. No. There's also going to be some new channel point rewards coming soon. Yeah, we'll just keep it there, and we'll zoom in just a tiny bit once we get to painting that area. Yeah, it's going to be in here. Okay, so let's get our stuff together. And we're just going to define this edge just a little bit more. But how are you doing this fine evening? Both you and your wife. How you guys doing? Now we're going to have to wait for that to dry a little bit, but that's okay. I do want to paint this edge a little bit darker than it was. So we're going to just introduce a little black along this edge. And then we'll take off as much paint as we can off the brush. That's fair. That's fair. What type of discussion? I don't think I'll have anything to add to your discussion because I don't really watch F1, but try me. I might surprise some people. Might shock the world like Ali. Yeah, we're just introducing a little more shadow and darkness in this doorway. Which again, to those who aren't used to the process of painting, it might look like I'm just repainting the same thing over and over again. But what I'm doing is basically just trying to shade different parts, get a different feel out of it than I had going before. Because this was a little bit too close to that color, you know. The chaos that was for... I'm guessing it was a pretty wild season, huh? Well, thank you for the lurk, Jake. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming in. And enjoy your lurk. We've got some cookies and snacks. Some beverages. Wild doesn't come close to covering it. That's fair enough. That is fair enough. Okay. So, I think that room is sufficiently dark now. So, I'm going to grab my reference that I'm going to be painting this figure. We're going to sketch it out first, and then we're going to paint it, and hopefully it turns out all right. Okay. So, let's check out what this has for us. Okay, so like I said, we're just going to start sketching this. I was going to have this thing that I'm painting in here right dead center in the frame, but I've changed my mind. For those of you who are watching and don't know, Jake from the Woods and I'd say that our friendship, like it started back in high school, and a lot of it has been bolstered by our love of sport. That being said, Jake is quite an avid sport fan across all sorts of different types of sports. Yo, Kidney Gamer, what's up? What's up? Welcome in. Welcome in. How are you doing this evening? I know I just finished watching your stream not too long ago, but glad you could make it. We're just in the process of drawing a fairly menacing looking figure in this doorway who's going to be almost completely shrouded in shadow. And we're just kind of going to hope that that works, because this is a pretty dark painting. But good to hear, good to hear. I'm glad, I'm glad. And up here, we're not going to do too much detail, because this is really what I'm focused on, getting that perspective in. But yo, while he's here, I gotta give, if I could type, that'd be great. Excuse my head being in the way. There we go. Just gonna do a quick shout out to the Kidney Gamer. Really cool guy, really high energy guy. He's a variety gamer. Plays all sorts of different games. You know, really cool guy. We met, I guess, last week via Jake from the Woods, surprisingly. Well, actually, not surprisingly, because you know Jake attracts a whole bunch of like cool people to his streams, and you know, it was cool meeting him. I really enjoyed. He was playing Breath of the Wild. He was playing some Pokemon today. He was playing all sorts of stuff, going through his games, explaining how Pokemon Sword and Shield works. You know, really cool guy. If you want like high energy, positive vibes with your streams, you should check out the Kidney Gamer. Now we're gonna get a small brush. Also, thank you. I'm glad you like how those legs turned out. I'm liking them so far. We'll see what happens once I actually paint them. My opinion might change, but we'll see. We'll see. But what we do have to do is grab a smaller brush, because that big old brush we were using, it's not the biggest brush in the world, but it's going to be too big to do all this detail stuff that I want to do down here. So, now that we've sketched that out, it's about the proportions that I want. And we've washed and dried our brush. So now, excuse my shoulder, I'm going to come down here and we're going to start painting this in. All right. What's some of my goals with my art? Well, it's funny you asked that, because my big goal when I first moved to the area that I'm in, because I'm in the GTA now, the Greater Toronto area. My big goal with my art was, because I came from like a small town, I wanted to get a solo show. And thankfully, in 2017, I actually managed to get a solo show. What was it? 2017? Yeah, it was 2017. Maybe 2018. But I managed to actually grab a solo show. And for those of you who don't know, with gallery shows, when you're exhibiting, solo shows are basically, it's just your artwork. Whether it's like one room in the gallery or the entire gallery, like it's your show, right? You're the only one in that show. And then there are group shows where you're showing with, another artist or multiple other artists. Oh yeah, a solo show, yeah. So a solo show is just, you're just exhibiting your artwork in this particular show. Whereas a group show is, like I said, it's a number of people in the same show. So for instance, I have a piece right now in a group show in Whitby, at the Station Gallery in Whitby. And it's not just my artwork, like I've got one piece in it, and there are, I think, like, I'm not sure how many artists, but upwards of 40, right? And then sometimes you'll have group shows where it's just 3 people and they're exhibiting in their art in amongst each other, all over the gallery. And then you have solo shows where it's 3 solo shows going on at once, where their gallery space will have like 3 rooms, right? 3 different galleries within the larger gallery. And they have like a show in here, a separate show in there, a separate show in there. So I thankfully managed to grab a solo show. So the only thing that I'm striving for right now, other than like maybe making some headway with some commissions and some prints, is getting another solo show. All of the stuff that that I'm doing right now, like this piece, the last couple of pieces that we've been working on, the Kidney Gamer, you were talking about that one with the truck with the van. That's another piece that I want to put in this show that I'm working on. And like I've got a whole concept behind it. Basically, a lot of the show is based on the idea of reality tearing itself apart, abstracting, distorting. And you can see that in the work, in that, reality is breaking down. Like it looks all glitchy and all that kind of stuff. And what kind of spurred that is I was kind of looking around and seeing, that people of my generation and other generations, like, they're really struggling right now with some of the basic things that you kind of felt were not owed to people, but like growing up, like I wanted to be able to buy a house, you know, I wanted to have a family, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it's difficult to kind of build a life when reality is kind of crumbling around you, if you will, like with the housing market and wage stagnation and just people can't make any headway, you know. And I'm fortunate because I can actually like pay all my bills, thankfully, you know. I was unemployed for a bit, but thankfully, like, I'm relatively healthy and I can do all that, and I don't want to take any of that for granted. But there are some challenges that, you know, like retirement. Like, I'm probably never going to be able to retire in the old sense of retirement, right? Like, I'm probably going to be working until I die, you know. So is this just this kind of idea of a representation of reality breaking down around people through a glitch? I go into more detail on that because I did apply for a grant that I didn't get to actually work on this, so I'm just doing it myself. Oh, sorry, Kidney Gamer, I missed your question. Shows usually, it varies, but usually they run for like anywhere from a month and a half to 3 or 4 months. The longest show I've ever seen is like a retrospective, which is where they take like an artist's complete work, and they collect all the art that they can from this particular artist. They usually do it like when artists are older, and they've got like a big body of work. I've seen some retrospectives that last 6 to 8 months, you know, but shows are generally a month and a half to 3 months or so. But yeah, one of these days, once I kind of finish what I want to do with this series, I'll have to like find my application because I wrote it all out much more beautifully than me just talking it off the top of my head. What my concept is for all this glitchiness. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it's just talking to a lot of people around my age. Like it's a thing that. You know, we joke about not being able to retire, you know, but it's kind of a sad thing, you know. All right, so that's one. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. But yeah, I didn't end up getting that grant, which is fine. You know, if there's one thing that you get used to as an artist, it's rejection. It does suck, but you kind of just learn to cope with it and move on. And, you know, me getting that grant, me doing the artwork wasn't contingent on getting the grant. Just the grant would have been nice because I would have just used grant money instead of my own money. But that's fine. That's fine, you know. That's just the way it goes. Just apply for the grant next year, you know. But that was my main concept when I wrote it out. I've got about 3 or 4 other concepts for shows that I've talked about that on the channel. That are just, you know, swimming around in my head. That I'll probably get around to painting one day. Now, we are going to paint some highlights on this dude. But not too many, because again, I kind of want him hidden in there. Because there's not going to be a whole lot of light in this area, right? So. But there we go. But yeah, and some of the paintings do have a figure like this, which is my own little thing that I kicked in, you know, where like there's some sort of entity, where like if you were to look at you know, my concept, you could call the entity, like, whether you want to blame it on a government or the economy or, you know, billionaires or whatever you want to blame the current crises that we're facing as a generation. Whoever you want to blame it on, the entity could stand in for that, or it could just be that, just a random entity. You can really make it whatever you want. That's kind of the beauty of art, is your interpretation is yours, you know. Even if it's completely opposite of what I was going for, you know. I kind of just have to stand out of the way and be like, okay, well that's how you interpret it. That's how you interpret it, you know. What other platforms do I use? So if you type !social, it'll bring up my my website, my Instagram, my I don't know if my Facebook is on there, but I put everything. Actually, I need to update it, but I tend to put everything that I do on my website. I said there's a couple of recent pieces that I haven't thrown up there yet. So the most up-to-date is actually probably my Instagram, which you can find through that link too. You'll find a link to the to my YouTube, where I upload all the VODs, which I'm a little behind on that too, because I've been busy trying to get this new job together, you know. But I'll probably, because I've got the next week coming up, like the week after Christmas, I've got that off, so I'll probably catch everything up then, because I'll have time to, you know. So we're going to do a little trick here, in that you'll notice here where this black isn't as deep as this, is darker than this red, obviously, right? So up here on the wall, even though this is all black, I'm going to introduce a tiny bit of red, just so you see just the hint of an outline of a person here, beyond the feet. You know, just so you can see that the figure continues upwards. You know. And then once the paint's dry, I'm going to go in and erase all this charcoal pencil that you see, all the white charcoal pencil. I'm going to get rid of all that. But not until the paint is dry. Which again, this is acrylic, so that won't take long. I'm really behind on my on my Facebook page for my artwork, because I've got like a personal Facebook page, but I created one just to serve as a gallery for my work if for whatever reason my site went down or something like that. But I haven't updated that since I created it, really, because I forgot about it for a while. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like them. Yeah, they're fun to do. They are fun to do. Oh, that's still a little wet. That's okay. All right. Now, I wish you all could see, and this is just a matter of the light. Let me see if I turn it off, if you can see it any better. Not really. No. I wish you all could see what I see with this. Ah, that's a better representation of it. Because I'm really liking how this turned out, actually. No, I want that on. Thank you. Come on now, TJ. Let's get it together. So, like I said, we're going to wait for this to dry some more, and then I'm going to put in some red here just to sort of like differentiate just a little bit between the background and the figure. But I'm not going to do that up here because I'm going to leave the rest of that to your imagination. And then, yeah, I'm going to put some shadows under the feet so that, you know, he's not just floating in space. And then we're going to start abstracting this piece, which should be fun because this is already such a dark piece. Abstraction will be fun with it. Yeah, so we just got to wait for that to dry. While we're waiting for that to dry, I'm just going to grab a drink of water and rap with y'all for a bit. Yeah. Yeah, I'm liking how this is turning out so far. But, yeah, not every single piece in this series is going to have a figure in it. The last one did, kind of hidden. This one's kind of hidden. So, you know, we're just going to play around with it for a bit. As a professional, what do people normally charge for it? Well, that's actually one of the most difficult parts of being an artist, because there's a lot of people, myself included, who kind of undervalue their art a lot of the time. Especially me, because I find it doesn't take me that long really to do artwork. Where like some artists charge by the hour, some charge ridiculous prices because they can, because of name recognition. Some people starting out, you know, charge a lot less. Generally, like if you're going to a craft show or something like that, you know, anywhere from like, gosh, I don't know. You'll see people selling art for $50 and upwards. They should probably charge a little bit more, but hey, no worries, man. Your text can be as late as you want. I try to keep up with chat, so you know, I'll try my best to answer your questions. But if they're a little late, that's fine. I'll see them when they come in. I saw somebody on YouTube, because I was really struggling with trying to figure out what to charge based on, you know, time and material and all that kind of stuff. And they kind of broke it down to what they do. Very simple formula. It's pick a number to charge per square inch, and then just charge that per square inch of your painting. And it's up to you to kind of determine what that number is. But this particular person, she was on YouTube. It was a YouTube video. I wish I could remember which one. But they were like, yeah, I charge like $1 amount per square inch. And then they'll adjust it. For commissions, this person did a little more, like charged a little more. For commissions, I charge a little less per square inch. And then they had like, you know, a family rate or a friend rate, you know, something like that. But I would say like in the professional ranks, you're probably looking at anywhere from like $300 to like multiple thousands of dollars for a piece of artwork. And a lot of that goes into like time and material and just what they feel that their art is worth based on the amount of work they put in it. There are some, obviously like with any product, there are some pieces of work that I don't particularly agree with the price, but that happens with every single product that's created on the face of the earth. There's going to be someone who doesn't agree with the price, you know. And unfortunately, when you get to like professional art, like the high rollers, a lot of it, not so much on the artist's part, although some artists are probably in it. It can be a vehicle for money laundering for like very, very wealthy people, like through galleries, who kind of like, you know, prop up the worth of an art piece artificially, because then, you know, everybody can make a profit and the money is laundered that way. But, you know, that's unfortunately one kind of side of professional art that, again, it's not so much on the artist's part, it's more of the people who are backing artists on their end. But I would say that's a pretty small percentage of artists who have their work involved in that kind of stuff. And there's a small percentage of galleries. Like the vast majority of galleries that you're going to go visit aren't involved in any sort of thing like that at all. But that's when you're talking about, like, if you see like a piece of artwork that's like a square, like a white square with a blue slash through it, that sells for like $3 million. Yeah, there's probably some people behind the scenes getting rich off of that artwork selling for that much. You know, it's not just the artist. You know, so that's my little spiel. I'm not the most well educated on that particular side of art, but it's not as common as some places on the internet would make you believe, like Reddit. People on Reddit love to bring up money laundering in art, in the art world, whenever artwork makes like the front page on Reddit. And it kind of drives me up a wall, because it's like, well, I mean, yeah, that happens, but it's not like the most common thing in the world. But yeah, for me, the way I price my artwork tends to be a dollar amount per square inch, and then I adjust it depending on if it's commission or if I'm doing it for family or friends or just someone that I know, like, you know, won't be able to pay for it. And with the people who can't afford the prices, like I also do like payment plans, like installment. Like it's not too complicated for me anymore, which I like. And honestly, like if I did a piece of artwork for somebody and they fell through on their payment plan, you know, if they wanted a payment plan, then it's not really a whole lot of skin off my nose. It's more so like, well, okay, now I know not to deal with this person anymore, you know? But yeah, exactly. You know, I need to start watching that show again. Like I watched like the first couple of episodes and I was really enjoying it, and then I just stopped watching it, you know? But yeah, unfortunately, like that side of the art world is very powerful, but it's not nearly as big as the internet would make you think. And it's certainly not happening at your local galleries, you know, or anything like that. Like the galleries that I deal with, like they're not involved in that. And again, it's a lot of times it's not the artist that's doing that. You know, the artist is just making art. My whole thing is, through these streams and through my artwork, I try to kind of demystify art a little bit. Just because people have these expectations that people have these expectations that art is very, you know, upper crust, and they don't accept people just coming in off the street, you know. And I'm trying to kind of make art more accessible, in part by doing these types of streams and stuff, you know. That's what I'm trying to do, at least. How did I even get started talking about money laundering? Oh, the price, right. Yeah. Because some prices are ridiculous. So we're just gonna... We have very, very little paint on the brush. So I'm gonna take a little less off even. And we're just gonna throw a little bit of a reddish highlight behind this figure, like I was saying, just to kind of differentiate it. From the background. And unfortunately that's not going to show up that nice again until it's dry. But yeah, I try to take some of the mystification out of art, you know. Because I've had family members say that, like, we would love to go see your stuff, but they feel uncomfortable walking in the gallery because they don't have the fanciest clothes and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, you don't need that stuff. All you need is, like, an appreciation for art and, like, you know, a willingness to see something that, you know, might challenge you a little bit, and you're golden, right? But there are a lot of people in the art world who believe that it should be kind of like isolated and you know, not open to everybody. And I disagree. Yo, Zelshot, what's up? What's up? Good to see you. Good to see you. They do actually. Actually, Kidney, virtual galleries are a lot more popular now because of the pandemic. But yeah, there are virtual galleries all over the place now. There are strictly online galleries where all the things that you see like are just like basically images of the artwork that's submitted, right? But yeah, they definitely do have virtual galleries now. They did before, but they're a lot more prevalent now, which is kind of cool to see because it makes it even more accessible. Because you don't have to worry about, you know, people's perceptions of you if you're worried about walking into a gallery. It's like you don't got to worry about that, you know. Okay, that's pretty dry, so I'm gonna erase that. Also, Zell, like, try. I know you saw what was there, but you know, try not to spill the secret. Oh, this? Yeah. So my palettes, because when I was in first year university, they tried to make us buy an art kit at the university store, right, for students, for this course, this introductory art course. And they wanted us to buy a palette to go along with this kit, because of course the palette didn't come with the kit. And the palette was like $18, you know, which is ridiculous. So yeah, I just grabbed an old record, you know, because I have a bit of a record collection. And it was a record that I got at a secondhand store that I had no intentions of playing ever. And I made it into a palette. I've got a number of them, actually. A couple of them I've retired. Like, here's another one that I've retired. You can see the edges kind of broke off because, you know, that was another one. And I've got one more here. And then I've got about, I don't know, 3 or 4 more in my childhood home. So there's another one. But yeah, those are my old palettes, and then I retired them for this one. Yeah, because like these were like 25 cents or $1 or $2. They weren't 18. This particular album was Bless This House by the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. And all due respect to the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, I wasn't going to listen to this thing. This is not funk. This is not soul. This is not R&B. This is not old jazz or rock or pop or like gospel music, you know, like good old black gospel. This isn't the Winans or BB and CC or anything like that, or Andre Crouch. This ain't the Commodores. This ain't Earth, Wind and Fire. This is the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. I wasn't gonna listen to it, so I picked it up for 50 cents with the sole intention of making it into a palette. And when this side gets a little too heavy, I'm gonna start painting on this side, like using this side as a palette. Exactly. You can buy so much good stuff for $18. But yeah, this wasn't a Beatles record or a Stones record or Thriller or anything like that. It was a record that I had no intention of listening to. And I've got other ones, like I've got like some of the other ones I've done were like a greatest hits of disco, and I like disco. I do like disco, but I don't need a greatest hits album because most of the disco songs that I want are either on my phone, or I have the albums of the actual artists with the songs on there. Right? I don't need a greatest hits because I can get all the hits. Right? Yeah, it is very random. But I mean, you can't argue with those prices, Jake. 50 cents. That's a steal. So I'm just taking off like I said, I'm just taking off the charcoal pencil. But yeah, hey, that's fair as though. Hey, so if you ever start painting and you've got a Beatles album, use the Beatles album as a palette. It'll save you a lot of money. But that's fair. Also, I would like to hey, I'd watch a Zell painting stream. That would be so much fun. That'd be a hell of a lot of fun. Also, Kidney Gamer, I want to congratulate you because when you were in your stream earlier, you are now the second person on Twitch, Jake notwithstanding, because he knows the origins of my name on here. You're the second person to guess the origins of my username on here. So, I just want to say congratulations. So we're just painting some shadow here to actually give this figure some weight. I'm sure when I start to, when I get my capture card and I start streaming games, I'm sure a lot of people will think that the Commodore in Soul Commodore is for the Commodore 64. Which would be a good guess, but it would be incorrect. All right. Now, I'm going to brighten this wall up just a little bit. Just because a lot of this painting is very like muted, hushed tones. So. I like that emote. That's fun. Okay, so we're just going to brighten this up just a bit. Same with here on the floor. And do some areas that are just a little bit lighter than what I intended. You know, since we're all here and I have y'all's attention, and this is kind of a spooky painting, especially with the direction that I'm going with it. What's the most spooky or unsettling place y'all have ever been? Because I love hearing stories like that. I'm a horror movie buff, so those stories don't tend to keep me up at night. And I find them fun. Find them a lot of fun. Yeah, kidney, by all means. Get back into it. You know, it's a lot of fun. Let you exercise your creativity, you know? That's part of what else I want to do with this channel is, you know, encourage people to kind of flex their creative side in any way possible. You know? Where used to work, there was a stretch of road with no lights. Ooh. I like that. I like that. That's fun. That is fun. I like that a lot. I'm strange like that, but I like that a lot. Oh, now see, there you go, Kidney Gamer. You got a whole racket there. Like that's what you got to do. Fun fact about Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie, when he went to, because the Commodores, the band, all met at the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, and the Commodores like got together. Your creative side is on the strim only. Hey, you know what? That is fair enough. That is fair enough. All those sound effects and everything you got, and all those overlays and all that. That's creative. That counts. That counts. But Lionel Richie, he and the Commodores like started playing when they were in university still, and also Jake, that's not true. You play guitar. That counts. Anyway, Lionel Richie and the Commodores started at Tuskegee Institute, and they started touring while they were still in school. They would open for bands. They opened for Jackson 5 for a number of years, actually. And they were, Lionel at least, was kind of, you know, like putting school on the back burner. And the way Lionel tells it, he got called in for a meeting with the dean because he was going to school for business. He was going to Tuskegee Institute for business. And the dean told him, look, college is a place that you go to find a scheme to make money if you don't already have a scheme to make money. So, what are you guys pulling, playing music? And so Lionel told him, and he was like, all right, then you should go do that. You know, stop wasting your time at Tuskegee. Now, the Commodores went back, like, while they were, you know, a big band and actually, like, finished their college degrees, which I think is amazing. You know, being a touring band and, you know, actually finishing your degree is pretty incredible. But, Kidney, you already had that scheme going, man. Like, you found a scheme. Also, yeah, Jake plays guitar. Plays it very well. If I do say so myself. Kidney and anybody else in the thread, in case you haven't noticed, Jake and I are kind of in real life friends. So, I've known that dude for years. And consequently, he's known me for years. So, but just I'll tell my creepiest place. Yes, Jake, just kind of, just kind of. Creepiest place I've ever been in my hometown. There's a place called the Black Bridge. And the Black Bridge had all sorts of urban legends and superstitious stuff about it. But unfortunately, it was actually the scene of a tragic thing. Like, some teenagers, like, actually killed a kid down there. Oh, Jake, don't cry. We're much more than kind of friends. I mean, we're the bestest of besties. What was I? Oh, there's a place called the Black Bridge, and unfortunately there was like a child that was killed down there by, I think, a group of teenagers, and there you go. There you go. It's all love here. Oh, thank you for the lurk, Jake. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Appreciate the lurk. I appreciate you coming in and chatting for a bit. Anyway, this Black Bridge it's a train bridge, and maybe I'll have to paint this someday. But you have your tracks, right? So there's a road. Right? Let me actually just draw this out. That'd be the easiest thing to do, right? I am an artist after all. Kind of. Okay. Grab a piece of paper here. So, there's a street here, right? And it ends, it's like a cul-de-sac, right? So there's no exit. And then there's train tracks here, right? And the Black Bridge is down here, right? This is an open field, right? This is an old folks' home. Over here was an old brickworks. And back here is like an old apartment building that's not really an apartment building. It's like a house that has a whole bunch of... Let me see if I can bring that. This light is washing it out. There we go. So yeah, this apartment building, it's like a house that has like 3 or 4 apartments in it, right? And then all in back here is trees, right? Now this is it's a city. There's 45,000 people that live in my hometown. So it's not a forested area per se, but there are a lot of trees, right? There's not any development back there. And there's an old creek and a like a little, I don't know if you want to call it a lake, but there's a barge sitting on it, like an old barge that's been abandoned for years. And there's a whole bunch of old, like tractor trailers back there that have just kind of been dumped and abandoned. This field here, they tried to develop on here, and they started digging foundations for these houses, and discovered they discovered that there was an old graveyard there. And they never took the bodies out of the ground. They just moved all the headstones. So they didn't know who they were, which I found really funny considering there's an old folks home right across the street, right? And then the Black Bridge is where the boy unfortunately was murdered. But in back here, this is the area, because there's paths back here, right? All through the trees. There were skinheads that would go back there. My dad, which is really fun to me because my dad, like 6 foot black man who's really good at talking to people, right? He would go back there because he worked as a social worker for years. He would go back there and he would talk to these skinheads, right? And just to see what they were about, you know. But all sorts of, like, there's a bunch of homeless people that would live back there. But my cousin and I, one of my cousins and I, went back there at night. And let me tell you, you already feel unsettled walking up toward the end of this street, right? Because, like, there's not that much light in behind that apartment building. And knowing about that, I didn't know about that area being a graveyard until like 4 years ago. So this was 6 years ago that we did this. So I had no idea, but you just felt unsettled. Like, just, I should not be here right now, right? And then we cross the tracks and we go in there and we're walking around and we find the barge and all that kind of stuff. And it is just, that whole area is just, you walk around there and you're like, this is all just bad news. Like, we need to leave. And my cousin, it's funny, he's younger than me, but he's trying to be all macho and all that kind of stuff while we were walking there. We got like 5 minutes in and he was like, yeah, no, we need to leave. But we were at a point at that point where, like, no, we're going to keep pressing on and we're going to go through the whole thing. And then we pass the barge and there's like an old shack and you can hear the barge like creaking in the water, and you come out at the brickworks and you feel like either something supernatural is going to pop out at you or some dude with a shotgun is going to come out at you, you know. And I honestly didn't feel at ease walking out of there until we were at least 4 blocks away. Then it was like, okay, that is the creepiest place I've ever been. I could say I went back there once. I don't need to do it again. Ever. Ever. It's just, you know, through time and everything, just something bad happened back in those woods. And I don't need to find out about it. I'm good. I'm good. Just, oh man. Like, even just thinking about it now, just talking about it now, gives me kind of goosebumps. All right. So I think this person is really starting to come through here. Because like I said, I just wanted to kind of like hint at someone being there, right? I don't want it to be obvious whether it's a person or an entity. I didn't want it to be obvious whether they meant harm or good. I didn't want it to be obvious whether they were corporeal or ethereal. Like whether they're actually there or whether they're not. They're like supernatural. I just wanted them. I want, like, if you're looking at the painting, I want you to be able to see that clearly there's a figure there, but you don't really get a sense as to what it is or what it wants. Okay. So I think with that, yeah, I'm liking how that turned out. So seeing as I liked how that turned out, I think I'm going to leave it alone, and I'm going to take a quick break. And then when we come back from the break, we're going to start doing some abstraction. You know, start glitching up this space, like we have with the previous paintings. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm just gonna throw up my be right back screen. I'm gonna go grab like a quick snack or something, and we'll be back here in like a minute, 2 minutes or so. Yeah, I'll run like a 30-second ad or something, I guess, because I'd have to. But I don't want to run those while we're actually working, so that's partially why I'm taking a break, and I'm gonna throw up the screen, and then yeah, we can go from there. All right, so I will be right back. Stay tuned, everybody. All right, and we're back. Thank you for your patience. And actually from back here, because I moved the camera back a little bit, you can see this dude a little bit better actually. Which I like. You know, you can see him a little bit easier. So as such, actually I'm gonna go around the border of this, of where he's standing, and maybe take out a little bit of that highlight. But we can start doing that after we abstract a little bit. Because we got about 40 minutes left in this stream. But yeah, I really do appreciate all y'all coming out and watching, participating. Yeah. I always appreciate all y'all. I really do. Okay. So, like with every single time we do this, we got to figure out what it is that we're going to abstract. And this one, I want to localize most of it, I think, around this door and around this door back here. I think that's what I want to do. So let's do it. You can grab our palette brush, or palette knife, I should say. Palette brush, that's all the brushes. Gonna mix this up. And we're just gonna start introducing a little chaos to the canvas. And this is going to be, just because the colors are so muted and so basic and bare bones in this painting, a lot of these glitches are going to be kind of, I guess, out of the corner of your eye. Like, they're going to be less obvious than in some of my other paintings. Just by the very nature of the mood and tone of the painting. I did say it because the last painting we did was pretty bright. I wanted to go dark with this one. And we certainly did. But I want part of the vibe of these abstractions too to be kind of like, again, like you don't really want to be there. Well, you see, Kidney Gamer, that's the call of the void. That means the next time you're there, you ought to pick up some pencils, maybe an eraser or two, and start drawing again, man. It's your creative subconscious is calling out to you. That's all that is. Oh, nice. So you would like yeah, you do have to. But you used to like build the model planes and cars? Obviously, like, I don't wish for pandemics. I don't wish for people to get sick and to, you know, be harmed in any sort of way. But if there is anything even approaching a silver lining to this world that we've been living in for the past 2 years, it's that there's been a lot of people that have really gotten in touch with their creative side, even if they don't think it's creative side. Like, you know, the number of people who went on like the baking kick and started baking, you know, because they had time to. You know, people who started streaming, you know. Like, people wouldn't necessarily, I'm sure a lot of people would say, like, well, that's not that creative, but I don't know, like, getting in front of a camera and playing a game while, like, interacting with people, like, that takes some creativity. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. My apologies, folks. Hold on a second. I use my phone as my webcam, and I just got a scam call. There we go. Now we're back. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, I got a scam call. Of course I did. Anyway, you know, it takes a certain amount of creativity to be able to get in front of a camera and be entertaining to people, right? And that's what streaming is, you know. So all y'all who think you don't have any artistic merit or anything, like, give yourself some credit, especially if you're streaming, right? but it's allowed people to kind of get in touch with their creative side that they probably haven't really tapped into since they were in school. You know, which has been nice. It's been fun to see people's creative endeavors, you know. I've really enjoyed that. You know, like people who would never ordinarily have decided to try and write a book are, you know, trying to write a book now. You know? And whether it's any good or not, like, doesn't really matter. What matters is the attempt. You know? Finally, like, saying, like, no, I'm going to do this. You know? It's really admirable. Okay. So now we're going to move over here and start abstracting up around this door now. Part of being creative too is like, you know, some people might call it a stretch, but I don't think it's a stretch. It's like even like getting active and, you know, like getting back into a sport that you might not have participated in for a while, you know, or getting back into running, you know, starting a new weightlifting routine, you know. There's a certain amount of creativity with that too. That's been inspiring to see, you know. You wish it was under better circumstances. Like it wasn't because of a lockdown or anything. But pickleball. I used to work at a community center that was big for pickleball. Like a lot of people went in there and played pickleball. It looked pretty fun. I've never played it myself, but it looks fun. So you used to play? Did you play pretty regularly, or was it just like every once in a while? I do know what pickleball is, yeah. Yep. It's unfortunate that more people don't. Yeah. I used to feel that same way when I would try to tell people about Paper Mario. They'd be like, what is Paper Mario? And it's like, oh man, it's just the greatest Mario game that you've never played. But yeah, pickleball looked like a lot of fun. So when you say location gym, was it like a gym like actually like made specifically for playing pickleball, or? Oh, a local. Fair enough. Fair enough. No, that's awesome though. Some of those people playing pickleball too got really intense. I was surprised. Some of them got vicious, like, which was even more bizarre and funny because like a lot of them were seniors. This one lady was cussing this dude out once because he just kept missing shots, and she was just livid. Which the competitor in me understands, but man, that was funny. Oh, glug glug! Thank you for redeeming that, Jake. I do need to take a drink of water. And thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Well, nighttime actually for you, but yes, I hope you all have a wonderful night. And thank you for hanging out with us for a bit. I really do appreciate it. No. I just wanted that to be black. Yeah, yeah. So I imagine they got pretty intense too from time to time. So since today's Tuesday, it means I have to get up early and put out the garbage. Man, y'all, our garbage truck comes so early on Tuesdays. It comes at like 6:30 in the morning. Okay, maybe not that early. Like it's closer to 7, but sometimes it rolls down our street at like 6:45. Like you got to get up right early to get your garbage out. Which I don't particularly appreciate. I mean, now I have to get up early for work anyway, but before when I didn't, it was very annoying. Yeah, they come like right early, but too early, really, if we're being honest about it. Okay. I was thinking maybe we'd finish this painting today, but we might actually finish it next time that we're together, which will be on Thursday. Because there are some things that I want to do that I won't be able to get to today, I don't think. That's alright, I'll just kind of tease it. Yeah. And like I said before, because of a lot of the colors in this particular painting, a lot of the abstraction is going to be more muted than it is in some of my other pieces. Unless like you're looking at it like in person. Because like I can obviously like just standing here, I can see like a lot of it, right? But in person, a lot more of it's going to come through. Yeah, what time is it now? Oh, we got about 20 minutes left. Yeah, we're coming up on the end of this painting, but I'm not quite ready to call it yet. There's a sort of sense that I've talked about before where I get to with a painting where I decide, okay, that's enough. Now we're just kind of meddling with it. And we're not quite there yet with this piece. And what I'll probably do, because one of the things I want to do as well, is just like with the last piece, there are parts of this where I actually want to like abstract and then paint over it and then abstract again. Like over this railing here, which you can barely see anymore, which is why I want to paint over it again. And like these door handles over here and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to be able to do, like I said, everything that I want to do in this session. So we'll come back and do it tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, sorry. Thursday. Now, someone did ask me before, because I've mentioned that I don't like to have a whole lot of texture in my paintings. And someone asked why I don't particularly like it with my paintings. Well, a lot of it comes out of this abstract business. Because when you have a lot of texture and you've got ridges and everything, those ridges, as ridges do, catch a lot of light. And I don't, especially for a piece this dark, like, I don't really want a bunch of ridges, like, catching the light, and illuminating parts of the painting that I want to keep darker, like the middle of this door here. If there was, like, a ridge from, like, you know, a part of abstraction that I did in there, you know, like, just paint builds up on the edge of the palette knife. If there was a big old ridge right in the middle of this, you know, you have this really dark space, but then the light would catch it, and then you just got this, like, glimmer of light, you know, and that just wouldn't fit the aesthetic that I'm going for. So that's why I try to keep my paintings as flat as possible. I love seeing textural work in other people's paintings. Like, you know, where you can see all the brush strokes and they really build up the paint and there's a lot of texture and, you know, I love seeing that in other people's work, but in my own, I want to keep it as flat as possible. Just because I feel it suits my my imagery a little bit more. Alright, I'm just going to sit back here and take a look, see what we're doing, what else we can add. I think the next time before we get together, I'm going to have to buy some more red paint. Because I'm running a little low. Yeah, I'm liking how this is turning out so far, which really is half the battle. Okay, so we can very clearly see our gentleman here in the doorway, or whoever it is. again, I'm just going to take a look from back here. See what we got going on. All right. You know what's fun is, I go through all this trouble to set up MooBot. And it doesn't actually filter out the spam. That's really annoying. Oh well, what are you gonna do? But no, I would and I opened up MooBot to delete those messages in there, and the page wasn't actually loaded. So, like, Firefox couldn't display the image, or display the chat, so I had to reload, and of course those messages don't exist in it, so I can't delete those messages. Or maybe I can here. I don't know if that let me. No, it didn't. Okay, whatever. Whatever. I'm not going to mess around with it. Alright. Let's get back to painting, shall we? Because we got like 10 minutes left. All that being said, in general, I am very happy with MooBot. Because I don't have moderators, so it's done admirably well. It's just funny when it it times someone out once for typing too many E's in their message, but it doesn't actually catch the spam. But, it could be worse. There is kind of a balancing act here in that I want to abstract all over this door frame, but I don't want to do so much that it actually kind of destroys the framing of the door. Which can happen, and I'm trying to avoid that happening. I like how red that is. I don't want to take any of that redness out, actually. Alright, I'm going to take a step back and just see where we're at. And you know what? that looks pretty good to me so far. There's not a whole lot more to do with this painting, but there is some more stuff that I do want to accomplish with it, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, we're going to finish this painting in the next session. But that's okay, because I get to spend more time with this painting with you guys, so that's perfectly fine. I really do enjoy the tones that are starting to come out, though, with this abstraction. I really do like it. So let me see if I can bring this with me. You guys can take a little look. So there's our entity in the doorway. As we come up, see all sorts of abstraction above the doorway. You know, we come back here, and this doorway back here. It's got some stuff going on with that. As you come in, I'm probably going to redo those door handles a little bit because they're not really coming through as much as I would want them to. But yeah, that's our painting so far, and I'd say that we're very, very close to being done. Very, very close. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I'm just going to rest you here. Because now it's time for us to close, and I am going to go raid somebody. So we're going to go do that. And I think the next time we get together, I'm going to figure out a way to actually share my screen on here, so that we can go do that, you know? Okay, let's search for art. Because, yeah, I think I'm done with what I want to do with this painting today. And like I said, we'll finish it off tomorrow. But let's go find an artist, shall we? See if we can find someone doing traditional art. Maybe someone doing traditional art that doesn't have a whole lot of viewers. You know what? Let's go raid J.R. Burbs. I know nothing about this person, but they seem to be doing a painting of art, and they also seem to be doing some yarn or crocheting or something like that. So let's go say hi. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you to everybody coming out. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all y'all who decide to come and watch me for a bit, whether you lurk or chat or do whatever you do. I really do appreciate it. So I'm going to type in this raid, and we're going to go say hello to J.R. Burbs, or it might be Junior Burbs. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. But I do, again, really appreciate y'all coming out. It means a lot to me. And we will see you guys on Thursday and we'll come back and do this again, 6 p.m. again, Eastern time. So yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'm going to throw up my new sexy goodbye screen before we go and do this raid, all right? So y'all take it easy and have a wonderful night.